everyone, it's Agnach here and welcome to another video. On today's video, I will be recapping our last war in the group stages of the CWL Elite 15. Our last opponent was Kansha and they were a tough clan. But before we go to our war, I want to show you how all the groups finished in the tournament after the 10 weeks. Out of the air defense, World Top Korea hasn't played their final match yet. However, them and only the Brave are the top two, with Close Esports and LTVIP a tied third. In the Hidden Tesla group, WHF leads the teams, having only lost once. Too Late for Stop and No Spell and Summers are the other two teams going through. The Inferno group had three teams that had only lost once, all three of them moving through. They were Genesis Legends, GS and Valhes Lake. And before I show you our group, let's see how we finish against Kansha. We ended up taking our second loss, 38-39. We were close in percentage, but they beat us by one triple. With this loss, this is how our group looks. Advanced for Beginners took the first spot and we followed in second. Kansha and Veterans The Arms are tied third. As we know, the top three teams of each group advanced to the playoffs and 4 wildcards joined them to make out the final 16 for the playoffs. I'm sure one of the wildcards will come from our group. So let's go back to our war with Kansha. These were the bases we tripled. We used a bit of everything. We had Yeti-bat, we had Hybrid, Yeti Smash, Yeti-bat, and also a Mass Minor Attack. This was the base I triple with Yeti-bat. The plan was to send the E-Drag at 7 to funnel, the RC from 930 to trim defenses and get rid of that air defense, a couple of loons and Whiz at 9 to finish the funnel, then send dragons into the base in between. King and Queen, I would put them around 1030 to keep the dragons inside and get rid of some of the defenses on the side. And finally, I would send the bats from 6 to get rid of the air defenses, the eagle and any other defenses. I also have a couple of freezes that I will use as needed. Okay, so here we go with my attack. So I've got 9 dragons. I'll put my Cockaloon with the Electro Dragon just to start that funnel at 6. Put my RC on the Archer Tower. She's going to be pathing into the mortar and then the air defense. So that's all the value I wanted her to get. I put a couple of loons for that Archer Tower so that I can just use one Whiz to get rid of the buildings at 9. Then just send my loons with my dragons all the way into the middle now that the funnel is done. A couple of my dragons do fly a little bit off, but then they come back and rejoin the team. Put my first rage down, the CC comes out, it's all archers and a couple of witches, which is why I brought the poison. I put my heroes down at 1030, they get rid of the RC and they start funneling my dragons to stay within the base. The last rage I put it there close to the town hall, put my bats in just to make sure that my dragons there in the center stay in the center and goes towards the town hall. I've used my first freeze on the town hall and the scatter shot just to bring it down. I've got one more freeze left and here I made a mistake. Instead of freezing the Whiz Tower and the Tesla, I should have frozen the scatter shot and the Whiz Tower. And that would have made for my bats to stay alive and it would have been a bit better. But in the end, everything went down. I still have 2 Teslas and an Archer Tower that left, but I still have my king, my queen, my dragon. I still have the queen ability and I've got plenty of time. Use the queen ability just to speed up the process and we got the 3-star with that plan. So a couple of things I could have done better, but in the end a 3-star is a 3-star. So here we've got another drag bat attack now by Benji. So he's coming in with 6 bat spells. So he uses his E-Drag around 2 to create a bit of a funnel, King and Queen around 10 to create the other side of the funnel. And then he sends his main drag army from 12 with the Warden and the Blimp behind to go towards the town hall. Uses the Warden ability just to make sure the Blimp gets all the way through to the town hall. He manages to find the tornado trap which pulls the Blimp, but thankfully The air sweeper can't take it back, and he brings the tank hole down. Now he's got most of his drags coming in clockwise formation around the ring, so he sends his RC just to make sure that they stay inside, the ones that are inside, get rid of the air defense and help with the scatter shot as well. Now he brings his bats from 10, freezes the waist tower. The only other splash damage in there is that waist tower and the scatter shot, which the RC is now getting rid of, and the other waist tower is being tanked by the dragon, so he chooses to use his freeze up there with the queen instead. And his last freeze, he uses it for that air defense and the warden statue, which can also cause a bit of damage to the dragons. The enemy queen is still alive, but all the bats have gotten rid of everything else. Now because of the sneaky goblin, he pulls the lava hound from the CC, so that might cause a bit of trouble, but he still has plenty of bats. He's got 2 dragons now. They're gonna get rid of the archer queen pretty quickly, and then they just clean up the entire base. Nicely done by Benji. So now we've got Trento coming in with his famous hybrid. 10 normal wall breakers and 4 super sneaky goblins. So he starts his queen walk from 9. Sends the blimp in for that single inferno just to create a bit of a funnel for the queen. The CC also gets pulled, which is a lava and a nice golem. Nice value from the blimp. He didn't have to use a rage, which is really good. Now the queen is raged up and gets rid of the lava. He's got his poison. Not sure why he hasn't dropped it yet. Maybe he's not gonna drop it. Now he puts it down, and he had the baby dragon there funneling as well around the 7 o'clock area. Puts the funnel rage down, sends his wall breakers. They opened up first wall. Now the queen is going to be able to go in to get rid of the scatter shot, which he does. Now he sends a few more wall breakers. I think he wants to get into that wall compartment to be able to go into the eagle and the enemy queen. However, they were unsuccessful to go in. The queen ends up killing the enemy king, and now she's going through the wall, so in the end she's going to be able to go through the wall that Trento wanted her to go. So he sends his hybrid into the town hall. The queen is going to be able to get rid of the X-boss, the eagle and the enemy queen, while the hybrid is getting rid of the town hall and moving up north towards the scatter shot. Now the queen doesn't have ability, so she's going to go down here. She does. The enemy queen is still standing, but the miners passed towards her and managed to kill her. So he's got quite a few miners in the center. Now they're getting distracted by skellies, so moving out. The king is still trimming the outside defenses, which is good. It's going to keep his hybrid inside the base, which he needs them to. The miners now are on the clan castle and queen path, so now it's just time for him to be able to get that single inferno. Once that single inferno goes down, he's got quite a few miners going around, and it's only point defenses plus that waist tower left. The warden still has full of health, so he can help with the cleanup. The waist tower goes down, and now it's just 1 archer tower left, and the king is still alive. This is 3-star by Trento. So now we've got that monkey coming in with a Yeti smash. He's got the 4 quakes and a jump, so he starts his warden walk around 10. There's a lot of storages there, so it's going to take a little bit of time. He uses a sneaky goblin to try to speed up the warden walk. Puts the siege barracks at 12 to create the other side of the funnel. Puts the jump in towards the town hall, so he wants his main army to push in. Then he's got his 4 earthquakes that can open the walls in the center of the base for his army to have access to the entire base. The CC comes out, puts the poison down, uses the warden ability, uses the quake, Now the Quake didn't open that first wall, so because the jump is still there, a lot of his Yetis walk out of that compartment. So some of them go through a wall, but then he's got like 4 Yetis that walked out, which is not good. That's not what he wanted. But the ones that stayed inside managed to go all the way to one of the scatter shots, and the Queen ends up getting rid of one of the single Infernos. The RC is coming in from 2, getting rid of some of the defenses, which is gonna help the Warden, which is the only other troop that is inside. The Yetis are walking outside. We've got some at 3 o'clock and we've got some at 7. They're just trimming those defenses. The biggest problem is going to be that scatter shot and the King. However, we still have the Warden with full health. The Warden is now beating the King with the RC. Uses the rage that he had left on the RC to have pretty much an RC walk. She starts getting her health back, and now she's the one that goes into the scatter shot and manages to get rid of it. So very good fix. It definitely didn't go as he planned because of that earthquake not opening that wall, but he ended up fixing it and getting the 3-star. Now we've got Coop coming in with the hybrid. So he sends Lance with the rage to get rid of that single Inferno. That rage is also going to be helping the Queen on her walk. At the moment she's got 2 expos on her and a scatter shot. One of the expos goes down, puts the King at 9 to try to funnel the Queen inside that tank hole compartment, which she goes in. So now she's going to be able to get rid of one of the scatter shots there. He also has a siege barracks. So let's see what he does. So the King is still trimming some of the outside defenses. The Queen stays in that compartment, which is good for her. She should be moving up and getting rid of the tank hole. CC comes out, puts the rage down. It's 2 Ice Golems and the Witch. Now she gets distracted with the poison and the rage. She should be able to get through the CC and hopefully soon hit the tank hole. He knows this, so he puts his siege barracks down just to create a funnel at 6, and then he's going to be sending his hybrid directly into that single Inferno compartment. Here comes the minus. Queen is pretty low on health. Uses ability. It was lucky that the scatter shot didn't kill her. Heal goes down for the hybrid. He still has 1 heal, a rage and a freeze. Uses the rage in the center for the hybrid with the Warden ability, which is really good. Going towards the Eagle. The Queen is still alive and gaining health, so she's going to help trimming those defenses and buildings up north. The hybrid is still going nice and strong. A lot of miners and Hulk still alive. The RC still has her ability. Uses the freeze on that Inferno, so the Hawks managed to get to the Inferno and tank it, and now it's just clean up. Really nicely done by Coop. So now we've got Gandalf coming in with the Yeti-bat, bringing 6 bats. So he starts his Warden walk at 6. Loons and Baby Drag to create a bit of a funnel around 8. Now he puts a jump in for his main army to go all the way into the middle. Basically what you want to do with this army is you want to get rid of as much splash damage as you can. You send the blimp behind your army, use the Warden ability just to make sure that the blimp reaches their tank hole. The blimp gets rid of the tank hole, your main army gets rid of the splash damage, and then you have bats for the back end to get rid of the rest of the defenses. So he sends his bats at 9. Tank hole goes down. Yetis are in the middle getting rid of the defenses. And the only splash damage left are the 2 Whiz Towers, one of them being taken down by the Queen. So there's only 1 Whiz Tower left. He's got 1 freeze left. Let's see what happens here. Bats are coming in. Uses the freeze perfectly to freeze that Wiz Tower. The RC is now getting rid of it. The bats are still alive. They're getting rid of the rest of the defenses. Now he's putting a minion and a couple of archers at night to start clearing some of the buildings. Uses the RC ability. The bats sadly get trapped on the tornado trap, but all of the defenses are now down, and now it's just clean up. So it's a race against time. So he's got his Yetis up north and the heroes south, and they're all gonna be meeting at 2 o'clock for a nice 3-star by Kendall. Now we've got Trento again coming in with a hybrid. So he starts his king at 12 and queen at 1. He's got a Wiz and a sneaky goblin with a baby dragon just funneling 3 o'clock. So puts the reg down. A couple of archers have come out of the CC. Obviously not the whole thing has come out. A couple of Teslas come out. Witch and an ice golem come out of the CC. So the king has already funneled outside. He wants his queen to start moving towards 3, and then he's going to be sending his hybrid in towards the town hall, I believe. So there she goes. Uses super wall breaker for her to go in and be able to get rid of that eagle. Uses the siege barracks at 10 to keep creating that funnel on the outside and make sure that his hybrid remains in the center. Sends his miners in. They wake up the town hall. Then he sends his hogs. Now he uses the warden ability during the blast, and the miners keep going south. He uses the queen ability as she's going through that scattershot and the expos. The hogs from the siege barracks come out and they're going to be joining the main army. His miners at the moment were stuck on the king, but they'll meet up on the scattershot. He's got 1 heal left, which he uses now. He still has miners alive. All of his hogs are dead, and he still has these 3 single infernos. One of them stuck on the RC. He uses the freeze for that single inferno. Now there's only 1 single inferno left. The inferno is on the RC, but she manages to get rid of it before she gets stuck on the skellies. The queen is still alive, the warden is still alive. There's a few miners on the outside and not many defenses left. He still has 2 sneaky goblins, however he's not gonna send them just yet. He sent 1. Now that all the defenses except for the mortar are there, he can send everything, and this is a 3-star. Very nicely done by Trento with a hybrid. Now we've got Sanax coming in with a mass miner attack. He's got 1 super wall breaker, so he starts with his queen charge. Baby drag to funnel her, uses a wizard 3 to start funneling at 3 o'clock. So she's moving towards 3, so he's gonna want to wall break into that single inferno. Make sure the single inferno doesn't kill his queen. He also has 2 freezes, so he uses the first freeze on the RC and the single inferno. His queen gets rid of the RC, and now she's going towards the inferno. With the red, she doesn't have to use another freeze. Puts the siege barracks down and the king at 6 to start creating the funnel. He's going to be sending his miners in towards the town hall once he creates that funnel. Sissy comes out, the lava and a few archers. Puts the reg for the queen and hopefully the poison soon for the lava pups. Now the miners are coming in, they're going directly into the town hall. Hogs from the siege barracks come out, uses the warden ability for the miners and puts a heal down as well. Uses the last reg for the queen to get rid of the enemy king. Miners are going towards the first scattershot. He uses his last heal in that area of high damage. The second scattershot is now tanked by the queen, but uses the freeze for the scattershot and the eagle. There's that single inferno there still standing, but the miners are closer to the single inferno, which is why it's not targeting the RC. The eagle finally goes down. Now the RC can get rid of that single inferno. The queen is also getting rid of the expo, and now is just getting rid of the last few defenses, and this is gonna be a nice triple as well with mass minus. Nicely done. And this is it. This was the last of our triples in this war against Kansha. Well done to them. Hope they make it through to the playoffs. I will make sure to bring you a video once I know the final 16 teams of the CWL Elite 15. Hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, if you did, click the like button and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time.